Okay, we congratulations. We are on the last installment of the fourth hub for this cycle. And I have to say that even though I'm a little bit kind of like, like I'm kind of sweaty and I just had a lot of excitement. I don't know if you can see in the background, but there's this big, beautiful amethyst tower that I just received. So I'm a lot of really excited about that. But this is the end of the fourth hub, um and I'm really ready for it. So, I was reflecting on that, and one of the reasons I didn't want to put off finishing this today is that this has been for me a a pretty intensive um cycle with this hub. There was a lot of yeah, I thought about this, about, like, how much I wanna disclose, but I think the thing about my own process, as I've discussed before, there's kind of a line between what is really yours, um, yours as it relates to it being a personal thing, and also kinda like what you wanna share, and so I think the part that I wanna share is that I'm eager to get into the 5th hub, because I feel like it's really going to come together with the right timing for me to start getting more active with bringing Parinama out into the world. I'd made the decision to take July and August to I didn't really understand what was going to happen in those months, but I had this sense that there was something that I was going to need to do as far as kind of my own processing, that I was going to have to let go of just kind of the projectness of how I was approaching Parinama, and, it has not disappointed. So for me, the 3rd hub, as I've been practicing it here, one of the things that really helped with was, really, because 2 of the things I think that needed more work before I did more bringing Parinama kind of into the world stuff was my own sense of ambition for, as it relates to my sense of self requiring validation of other people in all its forms, and that the success of Parinama being in the terms of my how I understand success previously, how I understood it actually now, is very limited, and what I kind of could consider as possible, and also how it related to me, not understanding the separateness of Parinama existing as its own entity or its own sort of thing, and that I'm a practitioner of it. So that was something that became clear through practicing, in this last cycle, specifically in July. And then August was my fourth hub practice. And one of the things that this practice has done for me, that I found to be surprising and excruciatingly hard, um, and I imagine if at some point I go back and I look at some of these readings, I'll see something in it in myself, because, it's kinda like pooling my resources. It really felt right to keep doing these readings, but, there was like, what I was processing and going through really had to do with my relationship with myself, as, like, self-contained self-regard and my love for myself, and how that grew and evolved, and the shape of it has changed. And so, for as it relates to Parinama in the world, um, that I'm self-contained in my sense of belonging with myself, or more so, and that I'm not using Parinama to further both my own ambitions and my needs as far as connection and belonging. And a lot of this is the reason it's important, is that, as far as like developing and growing and expanding the capacity in the hubs, one of the things is that it's interesting because the greater capacity that you grow, the more that you can understand the relativity of your own experience to that of other people versus just looking through the lens of how you see the world and projecting that onto everyone else. So there's just work I needed to do, or needed to, or did, or whatever, that's really, like, really just been phenomenal as far as, like, really making me feel like I'm in a place that I understand better, because coming into this year, I had just this sense that there were certain things that didn't feel completely right as far as me being able to represent this in the world and in within my integrity. So it's interesting. And I think one of the things I'd like to just reinforce is that part of this process is really disintegrating some of these kind of the tangle with the belief system and the reflexes that kind of interfere with being able to really trust yourself and really trust the arising sort of notions that are coming out that are really, like, coming from something like a higher level of intelligence. And one of the things I spent time cultivating was getting to as close as I, like, to a certain extent, of getting to a 0 point place where I wasn't thinking about how to build this off contexts and frameworks and method, like, in ways that I've built things in the past, and coming into a place of, like, freshness. So as we go into the upper hubs, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there, but the fifth hub will be a really nice match because we're gonna be talking about, um yeah, we'll talk about fifth hub when we talk about fifth hub. So I brought the tools this time. The last time we did the charge and discharge, I did not. And so I'm not gonna stand up. I'm gonna do these all seated, so there is gonna be some limitation. I do think if the day comes that there is a calling to have these techniques and exercises actually pulled out and demonstrated, that's absolutely something to bring into the universe. I'm really, I'd be more than happy to do that. But for right now, with the way this camera is set up and sort of where I'm at, we can do this stuff, and I might draw some pictures like I did last time. But we're going to read through this stuff, and then we're going to really wrap it up. And I think before we wrap up, I want to just, like, create a little bit of space for us to think back, because I'm going to do like just create a little bit of room to consider, kind of like in summary, some of the really impactful aspects of the processing and the work done in this hub. Okay, so charge and discharge. So just a reminder that charging the hub it's like either bringing energy into it or, like, moving stuck energy out of it. And so in charge, it's like when especially if a hub has a lower, smaller capacity, or that's kind of more it. It's like if it's shrinking, or if it's, like, especially in the fourth hub, for this very, like, for not being really taught how to love, which is something, like, so that the fourth hub is kind of is what it is. Pouring some energy into it is like we're stoking it. And then with the discharging, we're moving out stuckness in it. And we'll see what we'll talk about that when it happens. So it's interesting 'cause it's kind of a mix of, it tends to be sort of a mix of we're doing both, and then we kind of, and eventually in a practice we figure out what we need more of. But for now, we're just going to talk about what these exercises are. And one more thing I want to bring up here is that these are intended to be incredibly accessible, and the idea, not incredibly, just accessible. These are to be accessible and to be, that most bodies can achieve these motions. And the thing, and not to say everybody can, but that most can. And that very intentionally, for the most part, except for a little bit in the third hub, I very intentionally focused on movements that don't require like necessarily athleticism or fitness. That fitness, building fitness, that's could be can be another part of a practice. But the thing is that even, one of the things that I've found is that fitness can actually be antithetical to a practice, because what we're doing is we're pushing past our ability level intentionally. So it's kind of like, and so we're taking ourselves out of being able to actually um like be in a place of exploration in the sensation. Just by nature, it's going to really invite disassociation, where we're like really pushing hard. It's like why you play like loud music. It's like dun, 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 like it's like pushing. And what we're trying to do here, and I'll talk a little bit about an aspect of discharging as it relates to weight training. Um, is it like the importance for parinama? I'm not saying this is like, it's like abandon all, like, whatever. It's not it. I'm talking about it as it relates to like what we're working on and trying to accomplish here. So charging. So I'm gonna bring up the thing of like in due time. So okay, so this hub connects the non-verbal lower hubs with the increased cognition of the upper hubs. Rigidity in this hub blocks the expression and connection of the body with the mind. So we focus on softening and melting with the intention of reception and release. Oh yes. Oftentimes, because one of the things is like the fourth hub is like kind of, for women, sort of like between your boobs. It's, and then you've got like the where we're getting into the fifth hub, and these can feel very like related, like the heartache of not expressing yourself. That's a thing. And there's also, I think, in like chakras, there's the notion that there's kind of like an eighth chakra that I think is like placed like a little bit over the heart, I think, if memory serves. Um, but anyway, so charge. So you can directly experience the energizing side of breath, the inhale, by taking a few sharp inhales through the nose, followed by passively exhaling through the mouth. It's called the breath of fire. This technique can be used when we're feeling sluggish and need to sharpen your focus and energize. So this is like very, the like Kapalabhati is the term it's used in pranayama, which is like, so what we're doing is we're actually like using the diaphragm more so than the sharp inhale. So anyway, so it's kind of like used to so that's an option. We're not going to get into it here. We're going to talk about breath of joy though, and I'm going to do it with limited mobility. So we'll see how this goes here. But so if you want to do it along, is stand up, but you can also possibly do it standing. I do have some, yeah, I might have to move out a little bit. How's that? I think this might do the job actually. So the technique uses coordinated breath and the movements of your arms and shoulders to charge and stoke a sense of joy in the body. So stand with your feet slightly wider than shoulder width apart and knees slightly bent. Mine are bent because I'm sitting. Keep them from locking. So inhale your hands up in front of you. I'm going to do it in like little baby hands. Like so. So you inhale your hands up in front of you and then exhale. And then inhale your arms to the side, making a T shape parallel to the floor. And then exhale before making the next movement. Then inhale your arms up overhead. And last, exhale your arms down to past your sides quickly in a swiping motion. So I'm going to do this like kind of like baby arms style. So it's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, And then exhale. Okay, that's hard to do. You need the shoulders and that. Okay. You do need to be standing for this one. So I'm just going to do one more baby one. Yeah. Inhale, exhale. Then inhale, exhale. And inhale up. And then exhale. And just like you're letting your arms fall. And then like moving your shoulders a little bit. And that feels really nice. Even in I did this earlier today and I just love it. It really does. It's like, and the key thing is inhale and then it's the exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and then exhale and release. Ha. You can even add like a little ha and then just kind of notice it's like if there's like any kind of like shoulder, kind of like ooh, 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 like search out what feels good and just kind of move that through. So that's our charging exercise. Hope you enjoyed it. So discharging, so in the fourth hub focuses on finding tremors in the shoulders and arms with opening and release in the chest. So here's where I'm going to talk about weight training on this. So if you are, especially if you're using things like on a pulley system, it helps, but what we're really looking for, so one of the things a lot of times in like weight training and anything that's related to fitness is like the shaking point is like we kind of try to move through it, and we kind of build strength by sort of like shrinking it by getting stronger on the outsides, by just kind of like, it's like and so it's like thrust, like controlled up. And what we're trying to find when we're actually doing a discharge is we're actually reducing the weight so that we have total manageable control, but it is up. It does provide like a reasonable and like significant resistance, that when we're in the full range, we find a place where we get a tremor. And instead of moving through that tremor to the full extension, we actually find that tremor and we breathe in it. We try to find it and like let that release come through. And then complete the extension. And then you can even find it back on the way back through. Not necessary, but you can. And then release. I'm talking about tricep pushdown for like that would relate, to what we're doing here. Even things that have to do with shoulders. We're going to do the cactus arms. But this is something, as far as what I use in a practice, it's like, this is like how I've found, and other, and this is, I'm talking only about my own direct experience, but certainly, I actually have funny pictures and notes people send me. I've kind of stopped sharing those, and I think once we move into the fifth hub, I'm going to kind of start to get back into that, being a bit more communicative about what I'm doing and what other people are doing in a way that is kind of like, not exposing anything they don't want to, kind of thing, like being respectful of their process. But anyway, that I'm going to start to be like kind of more, I think, and also one of the things is I understand this practice more. My own understanding of what it is also evolving. Like we're doing this together. I'm not like representing myself as like someone who's like fully actualized here. Like this is like really amazing. And I actually think part of the being like actualized is like the delight in this. The idea, I was listening to something today and they were like talking about people who would like strive for enlightenment. And I'm like, why? Like, this is great. This is really interesting. Like that, like to be able to like be in these states of exploration and going into places where we like have avoided our entire lives. And like, once we clean it off, we're finding treasure. It's like, woo, It's like, this is I mean, like, and we suspect there's treasure there all along. I mean, there's a reason we don't forget about it, and there's a reason we stay curious, like, "Oh, that thing," and it's like and it's like that kinda like, you get a little dirty cleaning it off, and then when we find it's like, "Wow, this is like" it's like a miracle, you know? I mean, like, the sort of thing of, like, the person, like, sitting on the trunk of gold. I mean, that's us, like, and it's so fun, like, it's so fun, it's so awful. Granted, I'm not gonna, like this is hard, but there's just increased delight in this process. So, like, the idea of being like, "Wow, I wanna be disembodied and completely, like, have full equanimity and non-reactivity," and it's like, I'm kinda like, "Sure, like, whatever." I mean, it's nice when like, it's like, "Sure, but this is also great." I mean, I don't know. Um so discharging. What do have we got here? So we're discharging the fourth hub focuses on finding tremors in the shoulders and arms with opening and release in the chest. So, okay, I'm gonna do this first thing, the inhale, hold, and melt. So start by making your shoulders a little energized with a slight shrug. A lot of this stuff back to the notion of it not being like kind of like we're not going for athleticism here. We're actually going for like finding this sensation and like exploring the internal like aspect of it, you know? Yeah. So so okay, start by making your shoulders a little energized with a slight shrug, nothing too crazy, but just getting some movement in there. Doop a doop a doop a doo. So and turn your hands slightly outwards, or rest the tops of your hands on your legs with your palms facing out. Mm. And next squeeze your shoulders up towards your ears on an inhale, and then squeeze with a slight tremor. So just be mindful, like, notice if there's anything where you're starting to get, like, kind of a pinch, back off. Like, anything where you're like, "Oof, this is" anything where you're starting to feel pain, like, there's nothing in this where we're trying to find pain. We're trying it's like and so anything where it's like it's stepping forward, it's like it's just back out, back out and kinda, like, stay kind of comfortably, like, where you can find sensation without causing any pain. So so squeeze your shoulders up towards your ears on the inhale and look for a slight tremor. I'm getting one here. And then on extra slow and soft exhale, slowly release your shoulders down and stretch them down just slightly past where they naturally land. Then repeat 2 times. This shoulder actually for me right now is a little bit tender, so I'm not gonna repeat it 2 more times. I already did these today actually, so, but that's like one of the prompts is like one of the body prompts that's like part of this particular hub along with breathing. It's nice. If it is, none of these are required. It's like find the things that like really work for you too. It's another thing. Find yeah, and revisit. Just have them as tools. Like this is one of the things we're building is like the capacity to really kind of stay with ourselves, have the tools to manage, be able to just charge. So it's like we're both building capacity and learning to be like more dynamic within the hub. So the chest release. So this one is like a deep love of mine. And part of this is that it is related to, once again, Alexander Lowen had this bench. He has the notion of a bench that you like kind of roll yourself back over. Now, you want to be, once again, really careful with your neck in this. So one of the things before we get into this is just having some awareness about like the stiffness in your neck and supporting that. So and it's kind of the thing is like going slowly into this and finding the sensation in it. And if you start to feel like there's a pinch or a tweak, it's just sort of kind of flow your way out of it and like find maybe like either don't do it or find a modification where you're like kind of doing this gently. So here, like, so lie on a block or a folded towel. So this is here goes between the shoulder blades. Put it down on the floor, carpet, soft flooring, ideal. Um, and like roll over it. It's helpful. Thank you, Mira, for pointing this out. If you have a little bit of a towel or like pillow or something that can elevate your head to protect your neck, if this extension is actually going to, cause too much of a strain. Um, it's better to do this like less and then kind of like roll into it. We're just not trying to be like great at these things. And I think that's actually one of the things that's particularly good about these is it would be really hard to be great at any of these from an exterior, like, Instagram worthy perspective. These if you did these on Instagram, I mean, I think, you know, people would be like, feel bad for you, which is great. If you wanna be these aren't yeah, sorry, this isn't the handstand on the beach. These are for you. They're for your internal experience. So the fact is that nobody could see what's happening on the inside is divine, 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 divine. So okay, there should be no pain or discomfort as you allow the chest to passively open as your shoulder blades relax towards the floor. So use your breath to expand and soften your chest. The extension over the block is particularly beneficial because it focuses on release without the distraction of physical exertion. So there's also the cobra, if that, gentle cobra with your legs and pelvis on the floor where you put your, like hands parallel to the kind of chest, almost like a kind of push up or bench press bar kind of thing, and that you pull yourself up and you find that extension in a way that's like sphinxy even. Yeah. Um, what was I going to say on this? I think at some point that this is something I want to do an actual video on and demonstrate. This was a very this is almost like I'm backtracking on what I was saying because this I would say is like this is a demand. I do think this is a sort of a demanding or like there's an advancedness to this that I think is sort of contrary to everything I was just saying. And one of the reasons that I just couldn't leave it out is that this extension and expansion, I used as I was developing Parinama to great effect. And I'm not even like the examples I'm using here in the book are very limited. So I use this and I think I'd intended to put this at the end of the book. It might kind of be in it, but I think it'll be better to do a video of it, which is leaning over the block and then kind of tilting up and finding a tremor in the abdomen and releasing tension in there. And then I'd lean back and I'd have a discharge in the throat. And I don't really want to talk anymore about that, but without giving a good demonstration, really strong, really, really, really transformative practice for me. And I have experience with folks that folks have found it to be too strong. So people have done like physical, what is it, like practices with where I've guided them through it that the chest release really does, it really benefits from either having like a demonstration of it with explaining how to work through anything that's arising in terms of like stiffness, discomfort, pain, like how to back off of it and even like provide supplements and like support it. So I don't even know if that'll be something like, so we'll see. But yeah, I'll say like when I've done that with people, it's very like, it's really emotional. It's really strong. It's very strong. And to be, I've done a lot of it one-on-one with people. Were you kind of allowing them to have the experience? I know it's really not the kind of thing I really want to do. Maybe you wanna help other people with it. Um, yeah, it's a really beautiful thing, but it's not really I don't really see myself as necessarily being the person who facilitates that kind of thing. So that's just something I'm putting out there. Okay, so cactus arms. Look, we have a yoga strap. Remember, we talked about yoga strap in the third hub. So this is what I meant by the double D ring. These yoga straps, I'm going to encourage you to purchase one. Um, on Amazon or wherever, they're probably less than $10. I think I have a ton of these because I was using these for the in-person classes. Um, so I think I bought I think I got them for they could be as much as like $5 or whatever. And the value of this here with these D rings is that you can actually create like a hold in them. So that's something we kind of like. And you can actually do kind of some like interesting stuff here with this. So, and in the third hub, very useful for the 360 breathing. I really like these for that. So would have been nice to have that for that. So here's the thing. So starting with a yoga strap or a scarf, hold it above your head with both your hands and extend your elbows to 90 degrees like a cactus. I'm going to do just the arms first before I like bring the strap into play. So we're like this, beep. And so what we do is I'm actually not going to use the T-rings in these, funny enough. Aha, hee hee. So okay, I'm gonna read through this. I did some work on my back and I can like feel it. Woo! Okay, so introduce some tension by pulling on the strap with both hands until you feel a tremor. Finding the tremor can take a little time and exploration. Be patient and avoid straining. Hold for 2 or 3 breaths. Repeat for up to 3 times. I've been sweating today, so I don't know if you're going to see like pit action here. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to. Oh yeah. I'm pulling on this. And I don't think you can see the tension, the tremoring. I can feel it. It's very subtle. Oh, there. I'm not even fully cactus. Yeah. I'm gonna shake it out. It's interesting. I think I included that one because my own personal practice had really benefited. I don't really remember doing that very much with other people, so I'm going to put that out there. And I will say that I actually have like the cactus arm. This is something that could be done like where you can get the same thing I was talking about with like resistance training with weights to like in a accessible at home way. You're pulling against it. I'd actually never seen myself doing it. I didn't realize you pull out. It's like I've never done it in a mirror before. But so this kind of thing, I will say that in this last month while I've been doing this fourth hub, I'm calling it a cycle. I don't know what else to call it because I've been through this a couple times now. And I'm like, oh, there's still something to, we're still rinsing it out. Maybe this is like a eternal thing, which I'm cool with. As previously mentioned, it's interesting. Is I used resistance training a lot to discharge, like, because one of the things that was happening is that there's just a lot of sensation that came out of this area, and there are times where it's just, like, stiflingly overwhelming, and there are times where I was like, "This is too much for me." I absolutely had periods where I was like, I was just very overwhelmed by it, and then I would go and do the tremoring and the resistance, and it would be like, "Zzz," and it like in minutes, I'd be clearing that sensation. I mean, it's like it still amazes me. I think I've talked about this before. People, often tell me, have reached out to me to say, like, "I do not understand how this works." And my response is, I conceptually do, but I don't really understand it either. Like, conceptually, I understand it, where it's like, "Oh, this is sort of like this thing that's trapped and you're letting it out." But experiencing it for me, still, and it's not like, I mean, yeah, I'm not like a ancient yet, but it's like it really is like, what the heck? Like, where it's like, I remember one time where I went into the gym and it was like, I just felt like this just absolutely oppressive. And then and then I left and I was like, that's a state change that I just absolutely can't even comprehend. Can't even comprehend. Like, I went in feeling like, "This is unbearable," and I left and it was just gone, and that's something, I mean, we did that a little bit when, we did some processing earlier in the techniques and exercises, but yeah. Yeah, it's really spectacular, the somatic releasing. It's like, and I think it's one of those things, and this is something I'm finding in this practice, talk about a book of spells, is that things that I used to have beliefs on that would be really hard for me to stop, things that I felt like were, "This is my life," or I even used to think I have great karma in some areas and bad karma in others, where I was like, "I'm really good at this thing. I'm really, like, limited in this thing." And now it's like understanding that that's not at all what it is. And as I, like, work through the hub and I expand its capacity, I can, like, feel that's like there's, like, this acknowledgement of, like, loving acknowledgement of that. Wow. Ah, yeah. Wow. It's that is nice. That is nice. Um, that it's like these my goodness. Whew. Yeah, I'm just, like, letting that be because it feels really nice. It's like a oh, ah, can't say no to that. Mm. Yeah, this real loving, oh my gosh, this loving acknowledgement to ideas that certain things were immovable, or if to move them would take a really long time and be an onerous process. And realize, like, kind of the attachment to, like, the notion of stability and infrastructure for, is, like, also part of the belief system attached to the reflexes, and the more we kind of continue to just work with this, and it's the more time kinda spent in here, and this is something that I'm really coming to understand, is the more time spent in this practice, in this book. Really, I mean, it's like, and I've talked about this before, it's like I wrote the book and now I'm doing it, and now I'm doing it like I'm practicing it like someone who's e receiving it as an offering, and I'm experiencing it like that. Oh, yeah, that is nice. So, we did it. That's it. That's it. Oh my gosh. Hmm. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just feel the depth of gratitude for, like, the reclamation here. Like, feel it just emanating. Yeah, and I was gonna talk a little bit more about this, and I don't think I want to. Yeah, I think just, yeah, it's just a really nice feeling, and I just wanna sort of allow that to just be. Mm. Yeah, I don't wanna recall anything. I really just this is nice. I just want this to. Hmm, that's really nice. Mm. Hmm. Cry. To really. Hmm, to really just happy to feel, to have just. Yeah, it's like it's weird. I don't. It's like the words. I don't really have the words because it's like yeah. I keep trying to like apply a narrative to it, but it's just sort of happy to be. There's like a happiness to be. It doesn't have any kind of thing about you found me. You say like it's like this naturally emanating love. It's love. Mm, yeah, it's funny because I want to just stay here and feel it with you. Like I really do. It's really a nice feeling. Little kitties next to me. So, yeah. So the wrap up here. Hmm. I just don't want to rush it. I don't want to rush it. Just, it's this love that's just it's inside, and there really is this aspect of like oof. Hmm. Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up. I'm gonna wrap it up. So, okay. I wanna go slowly though. In chapter 8. Hee, 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 hee. Okay. In chapter 8, the fifth hub. Like, why isn't it chapter 5, the fifth hub? This, believe me. Believe me. Okay, so in chapter 8, the fifth hub speak. The balance of give and take and the paradox of belonging and independence will continue to develop and evolve. Mm. We learn to find personal expression and validation, which supports both being known as who we truly are and supporting others in their expression of integrity. The voice in this hub can connect us with increasingly sophisticated use of language. Okay. Oh my gosh. Woo! I really thought I was gonna sit and recall some of the kind of like the dark nights of the soul, but I'm not. It's just like, yeah, nope, that's not what's happening. Okay. So yeah. Okay, well, I'm sending you so much love and appreciation. So yeah. Oh my gosh. Um, it means so much to me and to have you here, even though this is like this is happening in like sort of different timelines because right now I'm reading this to 0 people. like live. But to you who's watching this, like I know you're here. Like it's like I feel your presence in this, and I feel us doing this together. Mm. And in that, it's like there's something that's really beyond my comprehension in terms of what that means. So I am sending you just absolutely so much love and appreciation. And thank you, Mira, Kristen, everyone. If you make yourself known, if you write a comment, I will respond to any comment. It's kind of, they're really like gifts to me. I really love seeing them. But do you? I mean, it's like if it doesn't feel like something that's like, if it feels like something that's kind of still sort of like stuck, don't. If something arises naturally, do. But anyway, that's it. We did it. Fourth hub. And on to the fifth, which is chapter 8. Good gravy. All right. Love you and talk to you soon. Bye.